What's going on, guys? Welcome to the God Gold of the Day. I hope you've been enjoying Rwanda Week. It's been a ton of fun. Only a few posts left before the week's over. I guess that's what happens when you're having fun. Time flies, man. It's going by too quick. But a couple posts left. About 3, maybe 4 if we're getting wild with it. We'll see what God decides to do. But today's post, I was gonna put it on the blog and write it to you, but it is too hard and it would be way too long for you to read. So today's post is gonna be one of my favorite messages that I've been so excited to share with you. Goodness gracious! All right. Let's dig into it. And I just pray this post, this message from an experience in Rwanda, just brings you closer to the Lord and allows you to just see how simple little things can be used by Him in such huge, huge ways and impact so many lives. So basically, and I got some notes just to keep myself on track, this message is going to be about the best gospel quartet that you've probably never heard of. Rooted and founded in Rwanda. On the first trip, we were doing construction on a rock wall they were building. They had some gardens and stuff at the school. They were trying to keep people out from coming and stealing their stuff, so for security, they started building a wall, and we were helping them with that. And in the process of helping them with that, I would have to walk across this huge field, pick up rocks, walk them back to the guys working on the wall. And when I was doing that, and let me say this too, that I'm first trip, I'm new to my relationship with the Lord. I've grown up in church and all that stuff, but I had no idea. I had so many questions, so much doubt, so much fear of, God, how can you use me? What skills do I have? I don't even have that much Bible knowledge. I've never really even prayed for people before. So I'm going into this trip thinking, God, how can you use me? Especially after coming from a life that was filled with so much bad on my end. Like, after all I've done, Lord, how can you use me to serve those people in need there? And I just had so many questions with it. And got answers real quick. It's pretty cool how God works it together. So when I was walking to the end of the field carrying rocks, I looked up, saw these 2 little girls sitting there just giggling at me. And after about 3 or 4 times, I went to pick up a rock, and the little girls walked up and started helping me. And when they started helping me, I tried to start talking to them like, big dumb English guy, and realized, well, they don't understand English, so there's a language barrier here. And then I was really, really questioning myself. How can I serve them now? Like, they can't even speak the same language as me. So you've got this barrier in between us. And all week I had seen kids like dancing, clapping, singing, like that was just their jam. That's what they did. And they had so much fun with it. And that was the kids at the school that I saw doing that. And it just hit me like, I enjoy doing that anyways. I mean, I enjoy acting like a big dummy and clapping and singing and dancing. So maybe if I start clapping and singing now, maybe something will happen. So I just did it. And while we were on the way back to pick more rocks up, started clapping and dancing and stuff, and these 2 little girls they just started singing Jesus songs like, God is so good, God is so good, and like more songs than that too. And it was amazing. I don't know if they'd heard them from the school or what, but I mean, their voices were beautiful. And it's like the rest of that afternoon we just walked back and forth carrying rocks, singing, dancing, singing those songs, or they were singing those songs. They didn't want me singing. And it was just like, wow, answer to all my questions right there. And I got back carrying rocks one time, and Donnie, who was a guy with us, he was like, you got a Gospel Quartet, man. And I was like, I know, dude. And he decided to name us the Passion Fruits after I had probably eaten 100 passion fruits while we were there. They're so good. So had the name, had the band. We were ready to rock and roll. The rest of that day got to spend with them, dancing, clapping, singing, having a great time. Just seeing the joy on their faces was amazing. Just from doing something so little and so stupid, honestly, like not even that big of a deal. And 3 days later, we're doing home visits to finish up. It was one of our last days in that community, and I'm looking around. I had seen them a couple more times, and that was such a huge moment for me. In that first moment of realizing how God can use me, even if it's in simple, silly little ways. Like, that was such a huge moment, and my heart was so connected to those two girls. We went on home visits, and I was like, gosh, where are they at? We got to have a concert, like, right now. Because this is one of my last days here, and I really want to spend it doing what God showed me is so fun. And out of nowhere on the home visits, they come up, and just out of nowhere. So it's game time. The show is about to start. We're walking through the neighborhoods, and the houses there, and we're singing, dancing, clapping, just having a blast. And it was crazy. Like, we went through probably 5 or 6 houses, and I looked back, and I noticed the singing got a little louder, and the clapping and stuff, and I just was so caught up in the dancing and all that mess, and all these people looking at me like, look at that big white W, and just laughing and stuff, that whatever way to make them smile, I guess. But I remember it getting louder, and I looked back when we got to the end, and there was probably like 25, 30 kids behind us. And I had no idea. You know, it was amazing how God worked through that. How God worked through that little simple, just clapping and dancing. And He's got all these kids going through the village. Everybody in the village is seeing them, singing Jesus songs about how He is so good. And just what a testimony to God right there. You know, He takes something so little and a guy that isn't worth nothing, and just uses it. And uses it, turning simple little things to huge hallelujahs for Him. And we got back to the school, and I saw those kids, and I was like, I gotta pray for them. And another thing, like, I've never really prayed for people before, especially a group like that. And I realized they don't, speak English. So the translator, I looked at him, and he was like, my English isn't very good either. So I thought one of them could possibly pray, and he could translate it to me. He couldn't. So I tried to get out of praying too, and that moment kind of just happened, and I just huddled them all up. We bowed down together, put arms around each other, and just got to pray over all those kids. And just like throughout the week, seeing the need that they have and the things that they go through, and to just see them smiling and having a good time, like because it's tough, man. It's really tough what they go through every day, just to get an education, to the hope for a better future, and the things that their parents have to go through to provide for them, and just see them smiling, see them dancing, see them clapping, like getting to pray for them right there, for in that moment where you call down and God comes down and just completely covers them, and protection and provision and His love, and it's just, that was unreal. Things I was so scared of doing, and God just kind of did it. Like, and yeah, I remember thinking that night at devotion, like, that was a huge moment for me personally, in my heart, in my life. I was wrestling with the call to ministry, and in that moment I realized, like, this is part of the vision God's put in me, like kids in need, whether that's being a big dummy and dancing and clapping, whatever it is, just helping them in whatever way. So when I write these messages to you this week, it's because of that moment right there, among so many other moments. But to put a smile on those kids' faces, to bring them joy, to provide for them, to pray for them, whatever it may be. And the big lesson there is just, if you feel like you don't have enough to serve God, if you feel like you don't have the skills or the knowledge or whatever it is, God's already put it inside of you. God's already given you gifts. He's given you experiences you've been through, relationships. He's given you just your personality in general. And when you get to that moment where you have fear and doubt and you're questioning and you got a language barrier, whatever it is, God's going to do what God's going to do. And what God does is always good. And I pray for you, if you're in that situation, that you would just continue to pursue God, continue to show up, and just watch God show out. Because God will show out every single time. He will take simple, just itty bitty things, and He will just magnify Himself through those little things. Clapping, dancing, singing, whatever it is. It's amazing how God works. And I just hope this message just brings you closer to Him, and this mission that He's given us to serve Him. And I just pray that it helps in some way for you to continue showing up every day and watching God show out. So I'm just praying for you today, praying that God continues to remind me of this lesson and these moments, and that He continues to teach you new truths also, to grow you in your relationship with Him. And also continue praying for these kids, because they really do need your prayers. I mean, your support is welcome also, of course, but your prayers are just even more welcome. Like, what God can do through prayer, what God can do through just faithful individuals praying for people, even if they're in another world, can do a lot. And I just ask you pray for each one of those children over there and their families, and just the RCRI organization as a whole, that God continues to use that organization in huge, mighty ways. So, sorry that Rwanda week is almost over, but it'll be back next year. Maybe next year we'll be in Rwanda. Who knows? I hope so. And I'll send you a live concert. Passion Fruits Live. The Gospel Quartet of Rwanda. Alright, see y'all. Y'all have a great day today.